Guess what? We have another official update about Outriders, talking about that upcoming patch right here. We have some dev news that we'll be diving into. Now, we're going to be talking about also, it looks like we have a release date they are aiming for, so that is really good news. We're also going to be diving into a bunch of other articles about Outriders. It's telling us what is going on within the community, and also another new game coming up here in summer, which I think should be on your radar if you love Outriders. But this game has an advantage over Outriders in that it's not only coming out on the Xbox Game Pass on console on the Xbox, it's also coming out on Xbox Game Pass on PC. So that's actually really big for this game. So let's dive in. Hey everyone, what's happening? Open World Games here. Hope you're doing good, and let's do this. We're going to be talking about some Outriders news right now. First of all, let's start with that official post from the community manager, an update about that patch. It goes on to say this: our latest patch, designed primarily to address the damage mitigation issue, is currently running through some final testing. We're hoping to release it this Thursday, May 20th, but that will only be confirmed once it successfully passes through testing. Now, the patch will additionally include crash fixes, as well as added telemetry to help us diagnose currently outstanding sign-in issues that might remain after this patch release. We are also still working on the player appreciation package as well. And then he has an update here about how they do the testing process as well. I actually covered that in my previous video. He also says this: note, our fix should resolve the damage mitigation issue for both multiplayer and single player gameplay as well. So they're confident that this current patch that they're working on will address that horrible issue that players are experiencing for both single player and multiplayer as well. So that is really good news. Now also, this is in the news as well. This comes from Forbes right here. It says Outriders once said it didn't want to be the grind 300 hours for one item game. And we know how that turned out, and this has become one of the bigger issues with the game, especially when you are grinding for sets, for entire, gear sets in this game. It's a real problem finding the complete set for sure. Now, this is the quote here from the article. It says, we've seen this in a few different aspects, not the least of which is the game is actually live when it could have had an offline single-player mode. But this new quote that Reddit dug up from an old IGN interview pre-launch is kind of gold given the current state of the game. It says, the quote is from Barstas Kamati, game director on Outriders, who talked about how they wanted to stand out in an increasingly crowded genre and not to go down similar roads to its competitors. He says this: we think that there are a lot of cool games on the market, and people maybe don't have any more time to spend 300 hours to basically grind one item. This quote has not aged well at all. Now, Forbes goes on to say this: the joke, if you're currently playing Outriders, is that it can absolutely take 300 hours to basically grind one item, be that a missing piece from a set, where's the damn Akari chest, or a specific gun, the death shield. With no way to target farm specific gear, you are at the mercy of a 1 in 70 to 80 chance fishing through the full legendary loot pool to find what you want. And with drop rates so low, even in high-end expeditions, where you probably won't get one more than every other 10 to 15 minute run or so, yes, 300 hours for a single item is absolutely not unreasonable, as many players have discovered. So this is another big problem. This game is facing one problem after another. And yeah, you guys know that I have been covering Biomutant. That's one reason, honestly, why I've jumped on Biomutant and other games. So stay tuned for that coverage. But as I promised, I will keep you guys up to date on Outriders. I think they're going to have a hell of a time addressing a lot of these issues. We'll see what happens after they get through the damage mitigation patch. But they still have to give us the appreciation package. This is going to take a lot of time. I've seen this many times. With Battlefront and other games as well, fixing a game takes time. Now, also, what are players currently doing about the legendary drop rate? Well, guess what? Outriders players are turning to cheats just to increase the legendary drop rate. And honestly, at this point, I can't blame those of you that are seeking some sort of way to alleviate the problem with the RNG in this game. And yeah, that's also a big thing that's going on right now. Now, there is another game that is also coming up One thing that is cool about Outriders, I will say, is that it is on the Xbox Game Pass, and that has been huge since, of course, it has had problems. A lot of you guys haven't had to drop the $60. You were able to try it through the Xbox Game Pass. Now, there's another game that I'm extremely curious about and excited for that's coming up this summer in June. Check it out right here. It says, unlike Outriders, co-op Dungeons & Dragons brawler Dark Alliance hits PC Game Pass on day one. So it's coming out on, of course, Xbox Game Pass, which is going to be on the actual Xbox console, but it's also going to be the PC Game Pass as well, which is going to be absolutely massive for this game, in my opinion. Like, that is going to be huge. I am so curious to see what happens with Dark Alliance in June because of that. Let me know if any of you actually have this on your radar. Sound off in the comments below. I honestly would love to actually cover that game in the future. Alright, so there's another interesting article right here that we're going to dive into. Let's check this out right here. It says, Outriders 10 things that need to be added in future updates. Fans and gamers are desperate to see a couple of new features and fixes added to future updates of the gory and exciting Outriders. My biggest question to you guys, do you feel like Outriders has a chance of recovering? You know, the one way that this game can come back is through a next-gen upgrade. And alongside that next-gen upgrade would, of course, be some sort of new DLC. That's one way I can honestly see this game making a big comeback down the road. But currently, right now, it has a lot of challenges that it is facing that it needs to just get fixed, you know. Alright, so let's get into this list. It says, number 10, more class abilities. That would be really cool to see. Some more class abilities added to the game. Perhaps subclasses could also be added in terms of those abilities to really flesh out those classes even more. That's what I would like to see. Number 9, it says even loot drops. So one of the big problems with loot, of course, is that I just covered that it's completely a mess. The RNG system is just not being favorable to a lot of players right now. Now, also we have this one. This is also a very big request. It says customizable guns and armor, which is going to be that transmog system, I would imagine, but they are talking about more like decals and stuff like that as well, or adding attachments to your pistol, or upgrading your mag, that sort of thing. That actually would be pretty neat to find loot that can accessorize your gear in that manner. More side quests would definitely be cool to see. I think there is a good deal of content with that, but I want to see stuff that's honed into more like side quests dedicated to level 50 players, that sort of thing. In-game content spread throughout the entire game world. That's what I would love to see. Also, they note this one, problem-solving quest at number 6. So let's read about this one actually and see what they mean by problem-solving quests. They say, along with new quests, it would be extremely interesting if the developers added in some puzzle or problem-solving rather than simply shooting the way to answers. Many players seem to have problems with the nature of the side quests and often call them boring, so something to make the players think might just be the way forward. And ultimately, having more problem-solving quests will broaden the horizons of the game, as well as flesh out the main character who is only really seen as a mindless gun for hire who's happy to accept a quest just because they can. Yeah, that would be cool. As long as it doesn't require like cooperative support, I'd be down for that. As long as it's not too complicated. One of my favorite puzzles was in the Assassin's Creed franchise, where it's like a world puzzle where you actually had to travel across the entire city and align statues and solve the problem in that manner. Those are the things that I really enjoy a lot when you're actually exploring the world to solve a puzzle. Also, number 5, less loading and cutscenes. I'm sure all of us would love to see that. Again, that can actually be possible with a next-gen upgrade. And this is probably a big one right here. More reliable servers. It's such a shame they aren't dedicated servers, you know. They actually had some quotes about that previously before the game released. They were confident in their servers, but servers have not been friendly to players. Also, they want more in-game guns. This would have been cool if the game was a live service game. You know, it's acting like a live service game in terms of fixing with updates and all the glitching and bugs and stuff like that, but we're not getting the rewards of a live service game. Now, also, what about this one? How about easier crossplay? Of course, that would be really cool to see, but honestly, I think servers would be ahead of that one. Better servers. Also, chosen dialogue at #1. So being able to get in there like an actual RPG system and having it where you can, you know, choose dialogue that is more impactful to the story. That'd be cool to see in the future if you can have like a dark path that you can take. But the story currently is just set in stone. This is more of a looter shooter than it is an RPG in terms of dialogue choices. Alright, now it's time to go over your top comments. Remember to leave a comment down below. It could end up right here in the video. Let's do this. Alright, my previous video was called Finally, Devs Give New Update About Status of the Game. Fans are not happy. And yes, if you go to the subreddit right now, there's like kind of a mix. Also, I've seen some posts that are actually positive, but they aren't getting too much support, honestly. There are people out there that are still positive about the game. Let me tell you, I personally have really enjoyed the game. I know it has issues. I was aware that it wasn't going to be a live service game, and it definitely has problems with the RNG system. It's such a shame that they ended up with an Anthem problem in terms of the RNG, and they didn't. It's just crazy to me they didn't look at that game and think of like, maybe we need Diego to help solve this problem and have him rotate legendaries. Alright, so now let's get into the top comment, shall we? Mr. VHC7 says, people are already done with this game and they still haven't given out the appreciation package. Yeah. You know, I wonder if that's why they're taking so long on things as well. Because they have like 2 other projects they're working on concurrently next to Outriders that are AAA games. So my personal opinion is they're probably working on those right now and then have a skeleton crew on Outriders. That's my personal opinion. We have Sosa who says, it takes literally no time to fix us being unkillable, but takes weeks to fix us literally getting one-shotted. LOL. Sure. Why So Serious says, almost forgot about this game. Been playing Village. Oh yeah, Resident Evil Village. That's one game I really want to pick up and try. I've been playing some Mass Effect Legendary. Tiberius183 says, for me, the moral of the story here is there's nothing wrong with the game being live service, and when you come up with a game idea that would work better as a live service, make it one. Yeah. Say it with me. Tiago. T-A-Go. I'm just kidding. Tiago, okay. Savior X129 says, this is what happens when you launch a game half-baked. You are constantly trying to explain what happened. I'll work on this. I promise. Alright guys, that's it for the latest happenings around Outriders. Thank you all so much for the love and support towards the content. You know, I mean, I'm covering Biomutant. That one is coming up here very, very soon. I think it looks really promising. It better not fail. I don't think it's gonna fail, to be blunt. It's not anything that has online. It's a single player only game, and man, oh man, the more I've seen of it, the more I'm like, woo, Biomutant's looking sharp. So yeah, stay tuned for more coverage on Biomutant and of course, yeah, other open world gaming goodness. And I will see you all next time. Take care.